Please welcome Chris Belden.
Thank you, Sherry. I'm not going to do too much here, even though this series is called I Wrote That. I didn't really write this book. This book was written by about 60 different people who, at one time or another, attended a creative writing workshop that I led at Garner Correctional Institution, maximum security prison in Newtown. And they are the real authors of this book. I collected the work, put it together between two covers, and I'm very proud to have participated in that way. But I don't want to give the impression that I wrote this book. This is a piece called Podium. And I remember this day very well. We were at the end of our workshop and we had a little extra time, and I said, and we had a podium, we had a little makeshift podium. And I said, write something real quick about the podium. And this is what Robert Coover came up with. At first glance, it appears to be just a podium, pieces of metal and wood strung together and placed on a box. But if you look at it and think of the deeper meaning of what that podium represents, it will blow your mind. That podium is an outlet, a portal. It gives a person the chance to hold the attention of the room. It gives a person a place to present his goals, ideals, thoughts, and beliefs. That podium isn't just a podium. It's temporary freedom.
Thanks for being here with us today. Appreciate it. So I'll be reading three of my poems today. The first one is called Still Life with a Door, 2 Windows and 3 Walls. A steel door weighing as much as the doors in your house would weigh. Protecting in value what you would put on the curb with a free sign on it, with the exception of family photos, which we hold dear, sort of like family heirlooms you keep locked in a safe. 2 windows, yet still no view, just like I wrote my last line without my eyes, no for real, without the letter I. 3 walls that sweat in the summer and freeze in the winter, like something left outside, like that bum you stepped on, like that bum you stepped by on your way to get high. They claim to be painted white, but white is bright, so that ain't right. More like the color of depression mixed with a splash of hate, as if hate and depression had a color. But hey, welcome to cell A123.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good.
Yes, my name is Floyd Lawrence, and as you heard Chris say, I was briefly in the Gardner Players. I ended up moving on to another facility, but while I was there, Gardner Players helped me to recapture my love for the theater. Prior to going in incarceration, without going into it, but I landed my first major motion picture with Denzel Washington, all to come to a halt because the very next day SWAT kicked in my door. So I don't look at it as a loss but a dream deferred, because God blessed me when I came home to do great things, and now I'm working on 2 independent films of my own. So it's not a loss. The first poem that I'll be reading is by a young man who went to prison when he was 17 years old for doing something that a lot of us young men did when we were younger, which is take your mom's car and go joyriding. But his didn't turn out as a joyride. Someone was seriously hurt, and he was given 20 years at 17 years old. Behind bars, he met these gentlemen, and they showed him how to harness the God-given talents that he had within him. So the first poem that I'll be reading is by a young man named Jamar Boyd, and it's called Pyro. When I was 9 years old, I had a fascination with fire. I would grab lighters left unattended around the house and go outside and grab a pile of leaves, light them on fire, and then run. My fascination with starting fires increased as I noticed my friends BJ and Fat Mike would get so scared that they would run, only to tell me later of how cool it was that the fire spread so big and so high. I was immediately taken by their fear and excitement, and I felt I needed to take it to another level. I then came up with another experiment, which I knew would add the fear and excitement to my peers, as well as my own. I found out through my experience that if I lit an empty water bottle on fire, it would drip hot fire droplets, and it would make this noise that intrigued me. I can only describe it as when I played my Mega Man video game and the sound that would come from me shooting a plasma gun. So as this noise echoed while fire droplets fell to the ground, I decided to let the drippings drip on a few lighters and attempt to blow them up. I stood back not knowing exactly what would happen, and after a few minutes, it was like the best fireworks show you can never see on the 4th of July. There was a loud bang that resembled the sound of night when the thugs in my neighborhood would shoot at each other with their pistols over drug wars just to protect their turf. Then it was followed by a bright orange and red fireball, which lit up the miniature like a miniature sun. Then it came to light, and it brightened up everything in sight. With speed and timing, me, BJ, and Fat Mike, we ran for our dear lives. We ran. Struggled to keep up, but a police officer was on a bicycle and heard the loud bang. Us three running from the backyard was a dead giveaway. He was only able to catch Fat Mike, you know why, due to his fatigue. The officer brought Mike down to the police station, and during the interrogation, Mike gave us all up. Along with my whereabouts, police officers showed up at my house and arrested me for starting a fire in breach of peace. I was sent to juvenile detention.
Thank you, Chris. The first couple of poems I'd like to read are written by Marquise Jackson, who was in prison for 19 years for a crime he didn't commit. His case was overturned recently, and he's out now being a productive member of society. The second one is kind of prophetic, you'll notice. But these two poems were based on lines that Chris would give to the prisoners from famous poets. So these are from poems by William Carlos Williams that begins with the lines, "So much depends upon," and the other one is, "This is just to say." So much depends upon. So much depends upon. What is considered true, glazed with blatant fallacy, hidden behind barrier blocks. This is just to say. I have beaten the odds that were stacked in abundance, and which you were probably hoping would break me. Forgive me. It was easy. It all depends on within. Premature. Lately, my pen has run out of ink. You try explaining the unexplainable. Why me? Each time I pick up the pen, my fingers break from heartache. Somehow I become accustomed to this feeling. What if? Is this my fault? This can't be what life has to offer me, And now, each night, as I rot on my cot, I count calendars, 5, 6, maybe 7. They represent the bane of my anguish. And each night I come up with the same number, life. And when I become mentally fatigued, I spell it out. Unlucky me. Nobody visits anymore. It's true. Joy is easier to share than pain. And then, last night, it happened. The doctor came into my wife's hospital room and said, "Your daughter will make it."
How you doing, Mr. Davis?
Living one day at a time.
First of all, I want you to know I appreciate you coming to see me. When I first wrote this letter, I didn't think this day would ever come.
Yeah, neither did I. I got your letter from Victim Services. I read your apology. I don't know what really compelled me to be here today. Because all I can think about is the anger I've had for you all these years. One thing I really want to know is why it took you 12 years from the time you murdered my son to try to talk to me. Why now?
Honestly, Mr. D, I mean, I don't think I was ready, and I do realize it's been 12 years, but...
12 years, 3 months, 2 days.
I guess I just needed you to know, Mr. D, how profoundly this has affected my life. I mean, it's been a lot. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's affected my life, and I just needed for you to know that.
Changed your life? Change? You want to talk about change? What about the change you brought into my life, my wife's life, when you decided to kill my son? Our only child. Can you explain that?
Mr. Davis, I'm really not trying to upset you. I mean, that's not why I wrote to you. I mean, Jesse and I were friends. I mean, we grew up together. I mean, we played marbles together. We played in Pop Warner football together, Betty Ball. I mean, we were friends. I mean, to this day, while I'm sitting here before you today, I still can't tell you where it all went wrong.
You know, the day you were sentenced to 50 years, my wife said, "We lost 2 good boys today." I looked at her like she was crazy. I didn't understand. I know Jesse was no saint. I knew he was into the gang deep. Too deep. His partying was a little out of control. But he didn't have to die like that.
I mean, I understand that's the way you feel. I mean, I do. But I don't think you understand. I was put into a situation where I hadn't... Mr. Davis, that's how the streets are. It's either kill or... No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. That's my fault. That has absolutely nothing to do with why I killed your son. I made a horrible decision and even a horrible choice, and I apologize for that.
You know, Henry, Jesse was our only child. He was supposed to grow up to be better than me. Yeah, I know, you might be too young to remember, but I'm sure you heard the stories. I used to be in that gang. I was in the streets, running with the crew, thought they ruled the world, pocket full of money, you know, doing whatever necessary to get that money. But because of the support of a good woman, I turned my life around. I came home one night and she said to me, go into your sleeping son's room. You look into his face and you tell me if the life you're building is the life you want for him. So I decided to change. For him and for me, so we wouldn't become victims of the street. The worst part about it is, I had a talk like that with Jesse, a heart-to-heart talk, before you decided to kill him. He knew he was getting carried away, so did I, and he was honest with me. I knew that he needed to do something. He needed to make a change. I even convinced him to let me take him to rehab. I wanted to take him that night. He said, Dad, I got some loose ends. I've got some unfinished business to take care of first.
I'm the loose end. Me. Yeah, I'm the unfinished business.
You mean,
Yes. Jesse got the green light on me.
wow. That makes sense. I should have known that. I should have known what he meant by unfinished business. I asked him if he needed some money. I thought he had debts to pay or something like that. I didn't want that coming back on him. I could have stopped him. Should have seen that. You know, if anything, Jesse, I owe you an apology too.
Yeah, I don't know about no apology. I just sit back and I think as kids, I guess we just picked up the wrong stuff. You know, when you're in here, you got so much time to think, and I don't know what really sticks, you know, in my mind. But it's like all the time, what sticks in my mind about you is, in Jesse's eyes, you were like a king amongst kings. I mean, none of us had fathers. Everything you would teach him, he would come back and teach us. Like the time you taught him how to fix a car, he would come and he'd teach us try to fix the same car. You remember that time? You know, when we were playing football and you quarterbacked for us? You remember? Yeah, I remember that.
What's the name of the kid from down the block? Small but tough as nails.
Rashid.
Rashid.
Yeah.
He had a fantastic play, almost ran into the car. I think he would have hurt the car. He didn't care, just kept going and made the touchdown.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that BMX bike?
The red
The
one.
red one.
Yeah.
I used to love that bike. I remember you guys built that ramp to do them crazy jumps you like doing. So hard to keep Mary calm. She used to where you guys would break a leg or something. And I said, "You've got your kids. They'll be all right."
Yeah.
And then, what about you? On the porch all the time with that notebook. Writing everything. A notebook and pen all the time. You still writing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss my son. Henry, you were like a son to us. Why didn't you say anything at sentencing? Why did you leave us hanging all the time, thinking you had no remorse?
Why didn't I say anything? I mean, come on. There was so much anger, so much shame in that room that day. What can I say? I'm sorry. There was no amount I'm sorry is going to change what happened. I killed Jesse. I killed my friend, and I'm sorry for that.
You know, Henry, I hear you. I think for the first time I hear you. I'm struggling. You know, part of me is so hurt about what you did. And I don't know if I can ever get over it. But part of me is beginning to see that goodness that my wife sees in you. You know I want to. I've just been angry for so damn long. I have to find a way to forgive.
I mean, all I can say is thank you for at least trying. I mean, most people wouldn't even try. They just give up on you. Behind these walls, I become some type of hypocrite gangster troublemaker. Behind all the nonsense, I mean, none of it makes sense anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like I buried myself in these programs and these certificates. I got my GED, college credits, and in the back of my mind, it just means nothing. None of it means nothing. And it makes me wonder, like, when will it ever be enough?
What's it left for life? I don't know. But I like what I'm hearing, Henry. This is good. And I hope you stick to the things you talked about. That may not be something you want to hear. Stick to your programs. I talked to your mother before coming down here. I haven't talked to her in years. She and my wife still stay in touch. And friendship is nothing like what it used to be. Probably because I haven't supported it at all. I remember times coming in the room, Mary would be on the phone. I'd walk in. She'd get awful quiet. I knew who she was talking to. I'm sure she knew from the look on my face. But she convinced me to talk to your mom before coming up here today. Your mom really believes in you, Henry. And I'm glad I talked to her. She made me aware of a lot of things that I wasn't aware of before. She also gave me the feeling that you're being sincere.
Man, it feels like, Mr. D, it feels like I got so much I want to say to you. But I thank you. I thank you for coming to see me. It really do. It means a lot to me. And I need for you to know, I think of Jesse often. And without trying to offend you, I don't want to offend you. But without sounding too condescending, I miss him. I really miss him.
I believe that. I miss him too. More than you know. More than you know. You know, listen, I hope you stick to your word, that you keep up this work that you're doing on yourself. Nobody knows better than you if this is for real or not. You can find some peace in yourself. You can find some peace in yourself. But you know, as we're talking, I'm thinking about those women. They're a driving force behind us. I have to give credit to them. There are two good women standing behind us.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go now. Mary's definitely going to hear about how things went today. I'm going to talk with her, and I'm going to talk to your mother. It's going to be a long talk. It's long overdue. I realized something. The truth is that as much as I tried to avoid her all these years, she and I have something in common. We both miss our sons.
I'll tell you this, Mr. Davis. You don't have to worry about me. Because I'd rather die in the streets than to come back here and dishonor Jesse.
Listen, I know that you probably don't know this, but I know you got something coming up in court.
I didn't. I didn't write you for that.
You know, I know that. And I thought so this visit would have gone in a totally different direction.
Visits are now over. Visits are now over.
I think that you know why I was at your court hearings before, but I think the judge should hear now how I'm feeling and how Mary's feeling. So I might be able to say a few words on your behalf.
Thank you. Before you go, Mr. Davis, once again, I am so sorry. I took a lot from you. And I'm so sorry. Can you please forgive me?
Make what my wife said stay true.
I will. I will.